the volume.
Turn up the volume.
You've arrived at the destination for all things Kentucky. This is the Bleed Blue Network Podcast.
What is going on, Big Blue Nation? Coming to you with another All UK Ball podcast after a massive win in the battle for Seattle. Gonzaga, what was it, a 16-point lead at halftime?
16 at halftime, and immediately went to 18 right as soon as second half started, and I was like, oh, okay.
But I mean, the fight in the team, and if I know y'all listening were either watching with the live stream that we did, the watch along, or a lot of you were in the space afterwards. You could tell there was like a giddiness throughout the fan base of Twitter was a mess at halftime. Absolute mess at halftime. And then we come all the way back. Yeah, come all the way back to win that game. And you saw like in-game coaching adjustments, in-game adversity with Kerr going down, and we have some updates on that we'll talk about. And it just nothing. I can't say nothing rattled them, because they did seem rattled a little bit. But an older team who had seen stuff like that before, had been thrown different things, had been in environments that were hostile, showed that there was some growth between the Gonzaga game and the Clemson game, and they were able to squeak out a 1-point win. And just wild to number 7 team in the country, and to outscore them by what it would have been 17.
We only had 36 at half.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and outscore them by 17 in the second half. Pretty awesome win. I know last night was last night was so good that I woke up this morning with a little bit of a headache, and I'll blame that on a little bit of dehydration. But I tell you what, when you were watching the second half of the game and the faith was starting to grow, we were going to win. What I don't know. I'll ask you, when did that happen? When did the faith turn? We're like, holy shit, we actually could win this game.
So I got a little spicy at halftime in the group chat, and I'm sure you saw it.
Oh yeah.
We did not play great first half. It was awful, but it also wasn't like we weren't getting shots. We just weren't making anything, right? And I feel like if we had made the shots and we weren't down 16, people's attitudes would have been completely different. But whatever. I think it's when they started going and feeding Carr, and they got back-to-back stops, and it was within 10 and then 8, and then it was like 6. And I was like, okay. We are actually going to put them on the ropes. Like, they are going to have to respond to this, because we're not slowing down. And I saw the team fighting more. Overall, there seemed to be more passion, more energy in the second half compared to the first half. So I was all in. Fun fact, I didn't move from how I was sitting for the last 15, 20 minutes of the game. I didn't move. My feet were asleep. I was freaking out, but I was like, I'm not moving because I'm sitting here and they're playing so well. If I can't walk for an hour, I don't care. It is what it is.
You got to make sacrifices. Sometimes. Yeah, I'm pretty superstitious as it is too. So we had the Rally State Line Co. hat on. Threw it on backwards during the watch along. Like, hey, we gotta step out. We made a run, and I had walked away from the TV and the watch along. I was trying to bounce between fan and dad duty with the newborn. I was failing at the dad duty piece, I think, because I was handing the baby off. She was still screaming, but I was doing what I could. So, but I could hear everybody talking in my ear. And I came back, and as the garage light goes out, because my new
I was like,
my new studio, if I stay still, this is why we only do an audio show, because we can't even get our stuff together. But yeah, so I'm in the garage right now. Yeah, and the light just went out because I was too still. But anyways, I came back and was like, hey, if we went on like a run, we got to within just under 10. And I was like, if I have to miss the rest of this game so that Kentucky will win, I will do it. And then we had somebody, do you remember the guy's name that came in the space and said he watched the whole game from his phone in the shitter?
Shay, yes, Shay.
In the bathroom of the freaking arena, because we went on a run. He was like, I just missed the game. He paid to go to the freaking game and watched it on his phone in some nasty dump stall so that Kentucky could win.
That is
sacrifice.
True UK fan shit right there, though. Okay,
yeah,
like that is true UK fan stuff. We'll do that. We don't care. We'll do it.
Yes, it's dysfunctional. It's a little disgusting, but that's what we're about. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, Shay, we appreciate you. The victory definitely goes to you. You should get a game ball. But the second half didn't come, like I said, in-game adversity. I don't know if you saw that Kerr is going to have surgery, foot injury.
Little psycho.
Yeah, so that's wild. Gonna happen. It is. I don't know if it's funny or if it's a little bit misplaced, or there might need to be some locker room talk going on with some of the players because there's some of the video of Lamont Butler and Brandon Garrison dancing, and then you see old Kerr hobbling in the background and people doing like analysis on what. It's like, oh man. But hopefully, they did say he's out indefinitely, but it's not going to be season ending,
he's
which
got a
is
Jones
good.
fracture, so.
Oh, I didn't see what I just saw. It was a foot injury. He had surgery.
Yeah, so I
do you know what that means?
On it. I don't exactly know like which part of the foot / whatever is broken or fractured, but I do know that they are extremely delicate, and they're easy to refracture if you don't take your time rehabbing them. So it's a process that he has to be very careful with. And I was reading some on it today too, but like depending how severe it is, sometimes they have to require a bone graft even. So I'm hoping his isn't that bad. But yeah, he'll definitely be out for a while. I know Jeff Goodman tweeted out 3 to 6 weeks, but it's definitely longer than that with a fracture like that. So.
Yeah, we'll definitely need him. It'd be interesting to see if they try to get Lamont back for the Colgate game. Definitely got to be back by Saturday. Like if we're Louisville not looking great, they did give Duke a little bit of run for their money in the first 3 quarters of the game, and then it got away today. But not trying to even play around with that team. So Lamont coming back for the Louisville game would be big. Maybe. Colgate has had some big wins. I think they were a tournament team last year before.
Past 2 years, I believe, 2 or 3 years.
Okay, so back to back. So not a team that you want to play with, but maybe you can maybe that's a Travis Perry, Colin Chandler game to rotation in Lamont Butler. Maybe he dresses and just kind of he plays sparingly. But
I would think they'll keep him out for that game just to make sure that he's good for the Louisville game. Because as we all saw, Jackson Robbins can play point guard. Like he's got it, right? Like he can play point. Like that's not a problem. But I think this Colgate game would be a good game to get Travis Perry some minutes at the point guard. They did give him some last night just to kind of spell Kerr and Jackson in the game. I do think so because he's comfortable handling the ball, obviously. So that, that's something he'd be good doing. But yeah, I think they'll keep Lamont out just to make sure he's 100% good for the Louisville game on Saturday. I think so. Who knows? But
yeah, it'll be interesting. I think if he does come back and he plays full minutes in Colgate, you feel good either way. Like, hey, then he's fully healthy to go. If he doesn't play, hopefully the message from Pope is like, hey, this is just precautionary. We want him healthy, for Louisville, and as we get into SEC play here shortly. But he's got you could see like, yes, they won that game. They came back from being down big. They figured out really defensively is where they started off, and they started making some shots. They started points in the paint. Started leaning in our favor compared to what they were in the first half. But Lamont Butler is the thing that makes this machine go, right? He's the main gear that drives everything else. So him being in the game and staying healthy, if we want to make be a top 3 SEC team, win some tournament games in the SEC tournament and go into the NCAA tournament, he's got to stay healthy. So whatever that looks like now, so that he's healthy, then is what Pope and the staff needs to do. But yeah, you mentioned Jackson Robinson running the point. That was the turn. When that was kind of the turning point for me. I'm not coming out and saying, "Hey, glad Kerr got hurt." So please don't hear what I'm not saying. But when Kerr got hurt and Jackson was forced to run the point, and then the rotation kind of changed, that's when we started making a little bit of the run. And I think defensively is because we were a lot longer on defense, right? So, and then Braden Garrison coming in and running the 5. That was he was an absolute monster in the second 2 segments of the second half. Offensively and defensively, he was really good. Hell, he struck that 3. He got a little bit too cocky. He tried to hit another one. But
he almost hit that one too, though. He didn't airball. It was too long. So it's not like it was like, oh, I got lucky. Like he's got good form to be a big guy. Right?
Yeah, at least he got his damn foot behind the line and counted as a 3 and not a long 2 this time.
He didn't have a toe in the line this time.
Yeah. But I think that was the turning point of the game. And you started to see a lot of fight. And you mentioned like Andrew Carr is the best big, and we've said it, it's not a surprise. He's the best big man we have on the team. He's not the same body type and stature of BG or Amari, but like with his back to the basket, his footwork, and you can see that rebounding is not necessarily a skill that you have to have size for, right? That's just a determination. That's just a, hey, do you have, the drive and to go get that ball, right? Do you have the want to? Oscar Shigwe wasn't a 7-footer, but he was going to eat a rebound because he controlled the paint. His body was strong, would go up for it, and he wanted the ball more than anybody else did. That lacked big time for Amari in the first half and parts of the second half.
The whole team during the first half.
Yeah. I think I just call out Amari because if he's the one right there, and he stands out as like someone who you would think would dominate in the post and would be that glass cleaner for Kentucky. That and then Cleve Battle putting Amari in a body bag in the first half, that dunk. And that was just kind of like it seemed like his mindset the whole game is like that was a half-assed block attempt and it went bad for him. He got dunked on. And you just wanted, like, you're like, where's the Amari who got pushed by, that dirtbag Peters kid and then just came alive?
Trash
and was
Peters.
Like, I don't know. Maybe we just need to, like, I don't know, find a way to get him pissed off in the game because then he'll show up. And
that's what I said. Someone needs to piss him off for every game because that he plays the same way. I agree. He's a mystery.
Yeah, I don't, because I was sitting there during the watch along was like, get him out of, he can't play this game. His mind's not right. Get him out. And then all of a sudden in overtime, it's like, oh shit. He's the guy
just out of nowhere.
Like blocking shots, getting like he just came alive. And that's what really spurred that big lead that we had to, hold on to there at the last piece of the overtime. But I think this was just a good game to just get to realize we're not going to stop overreacting, but we need to, because we aren't the same team that from half to half, right? Because we do have big brain coaches on the staff who can help overcome some of these big deficits or can adjust and keep leads. Or, we mentioned before, when we came back down from 16 as well. In John Calipari years from last year, we were up 16 against Kansas and lost that game, right? So the roles have have absolutely switched. Like, it's not, okay, let's just keep doing the same thing and hopefully guys make shots. It's like, no, let's, we're not making shots. How do we make the other team miss shots as well? And that was probably one of the most exciting basketball games that I've had in the last, 3 or 4 years, just because of the way we came back. Like last year, the game against the Georgia, the Big Z game, the Alabama game, the Auburn game, all those were really, really exciting games that we won by a bunch, or we went on the road to Auburn and we weren't expected to win. We won that game. This one, though, with the new team and just completely being down and out in the first half and going, oh no, maybe we aren't the team we thought, just to get lifted back up. And it was spiritual. I tell you that. It's what it seemed like. It was like, ha, ha, ha. Like I was born again.
Angels singing, overnight. Clouds are parting. Like, I don't know. And this has been said, I don't know how many times by everybody and their mom at this point, but it is so freaking refreshing to see halftime adjustments being made, in-game adjustments being made. You can see, like, they changed how they were trying to get Kobe Bryant open because they locked him down. Like, the Zags locked him down, right?
Yeah, there's definitely film
on how they were getting him open.
Slow him down now.
Yeah, you just can't, because, and this has been said, he doesn't really create his own shot, right? That's not typically what he does. He comes off screens and gets open. And so, and they did this in the game last night. They changed how they were getting him open. So instead of running the, whatever it's the one side, they had him screening and then his man being screened and going up straight through the middle to change how he got top of the key, right? So they changed that, and then how he came off ball screens changed as well. So that was an adjustment. But honestly, throwing that 1-3-1 out there, that changed everything. It confused the Zags enough to slow them down to where the moment we could swing momentum in our favor because they didn't know what to run. Because it's typically 1-3-1, and as soon as they pass the ball, straight to man to man from there. I think they only stayed in 1-3-1 a handful of times, maybe 2 or 3, if that, the entire possession. I know one time they got a dunk from Zags got dunk from the dunker spot. But another time I think a couple times they didn't score at all. We got the ball back. I just know Joe B. Hall was smiling. I know he was. I know he's smiling with that 1-3-1. But yeah.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It would be interesting to see if someone had a copy of like the bench, because like you said, there was if there was a call on the sideline from the coaching staff or what it was, because on first pass, if it was going from 1-3-1 to that man, or if it was maybe looking at it, it was it almost seemed like if Ike touched it, they would go man, just stick to whoever they had and let someone body up on them. I had to go back and look at it. There are parts of that game where either between the stuff that was in my little glass here or the excitement of the game, a little bit fuzzy. But there's
that brown water.
Yeah, it'll get you sometimes. Just a great overall win for the Cats leading into, coming back. I think the biggest thing was like we come up short against Clemson, short week, fly out 2 time zones, change everything. Like that was easily, especially when it got out to 16, and we'll keep harping on it. But when you get down 16 in the second half, that was an easy one to be like, all right, man, we're just burying this basketball. This ain't our day. Let's get back home, erupt. We'll beat Colgate. We'll smack Louisville around. Everybody will kind of forget about this. And that's just not how this team's built. That's not how this coaching staff's built. And
no.
It's like legit, they are on a mission. Like it's not lip service. Like this assignment 9 mantra, this is the journey videos that come out, Coach Pope saying, he's holding them accountable, and he is going to make sure these boys play for Big Blue Nation. It's not lip service. The dude means it 100%. And, we see it every day from him at 12:01 out there picking up Caleb Wilson for a visit with his family because the flight got delayed and his whole coaching staff is there, or if it's leaning into the dudes at halftime saying you're gonna win this damn game because you got an entire state and most of the country depending on you to lift them up on this Saturday, right? How much people tithe on Sunday in the Commonwealth depends on how well you play right now. Like that's the kind of thing you gotta. You're feeding families based off your play. And I know it sounds dramatic, and it is, but golly, I feel like that's how we feel. I mean,
it is like a religion, though. I mean, it is. It is.
You felt it. You felt it from the TV screen and the blue that got into the arena, from the people that were commenting on the watch along, from the space we did. You just felt how like a wave of emotions of like, man, this is where we want to be with Kentucky basketball. Compared to just it felt like we were being weighed down in the last 5 years. And I love Cal. And I was one of the guys who was like, you got to keep him because he's going to bring in talent all the time and he can get us to a Final Four. And I will come out and say it again. I was wrong. We needed a refresh, and Pope was the right guy to bring it. And
same here. I was the same boat. I was the same boat until they lost to Oakland, and I was like, all right, it's got to be changed. Which surprised me. Shout out to people still bringing my tweets up from 2 years ago because I appreciate the views and interactions, but homie, I changed my mind. So,
what's funny is I will do that. I'll like bookmark something because I'll see it and I'll be like, oh, I'm going to get this person later. I don't have the time to ever go back. I will click it thinking like I'm going to get so and so because this is a stupid take, and then by next week I'm like I don't even remember what it was. I didn't even worth my time.
2 years ago, and the guy's like, I bragged about it. I'm like, homie, thanks for the interactions. I appreciate that.
Twitter is something. It is the best and the worst of the internet at the same time.
Yes.
But so with the good of Kentucky basketball comes the bad with Kentucky football. And we have no more games that will tear us down on a Saturday as the season comes to an end. We haven't recorded since the embarrassing loss to Louisville in Kroger.
Nope.
I talked with the Border Rival boys on Friday, and AB is a big Louisville fan. He was in my house for the watch along, so that was painful. He was very excited. I was hating my life and realized that inviting him over was a terrible decision. But
mistakes were made, Rando.
Yeah, they were. And I mentioned that the beginning of the game where we have I think it was like a 10-yard run followed by a Wilcox like 20+ yard run where he gets just stripped of the ball and looked like a child out there, like a dad just ragdolling his kid. That was like that's the microcosm of the season. It's like something great is happening in front of your eyes, and then it's like a train wreck. Boom! It just is taken from you and just going the other way. And from that point on, just never seen we could recover.
Never ending train wreck.
Yeah, Cutter Boley. I think he's got some good things about him. He's got a lot of talent. He's got some swag, but clearly he was not the savior. It wasn't a Brock Vandegrift problem, and you just throw the Band-Aid of Cutter Boley out there. No, the O-line was an issue still, and Braum took advantage of having a freshman quarterback out there. He threw a lot of disguises at him. The coverage confused Cutter. And he was sending heat all day to make him feel uncomfortable because he knew the O-line was not going to hold up. And as we had seen the entire season, once the game script is flipped and we have to throw the ball and we can't control the ball with the run, we don't do well. Whether that is the play caller panicking, which seemed to happen all year, or just, hey, we as a team and we weren't collectively built to do that. I think that's also true. But yeah, it spiraled out of control fast. The season is over. We are officially in the
thank Lord.
Yeah, we are officially in the next season portal watch mode. now that the signing day is over. So I'll give my take. What did you think of the signing day? Some of the kids we brought in, the rankings, all that.
Obviously, it's pretty disappointing to see two huge recruits flip as soon as the game is over, type of thing. That was pretty upsetting. I mean, overall, it's not too bad. The rankings aren't too bad. They're not great by SEC standards, by no means, of course. I think it's like 13th or 14th in the SEC, something like that. I think is what our class is ranked. 14th, yeah, not great by SEC standards.
No.
Brought in two more quarterbacks, wide receiver, stuff like that. I guess it is what it is, right? I expect portal season, though. We have to go portaling really hard.
100%.
We have got to fix the O-line. Like, I don't even. First off, I don't know how the coach does a job, but I digress.
My hope is that because when he got hired, we talked about him when we were, before the season started, when we were breaking down the offense and defense, and we talked about him coming back to Kentucky and how it was, an awkward relationship, how he left for Bama and then comes back. And maybe it was he was given the guys that were on the team and these weren't the guys he wanted to run his scheme. That's my only hope, is that in the portal season, if he's still here, he can get. Now, some of these dudes were here when he was here before, so maybe that's just a bad take. I don't know, but it's probably wishful thinking, but that's what I'm hoping, is that he can go out there and, he has shown that he can have a good O-line in the past. So if he can get the guys that fit his scheme, the mold that he likes, maybe that will bring the big blue ball back. I don't know. But, you're 100% correct. O-line has to get fixed, and the portal. I mean,
we can't run anything at all if we don't have an O-line. Like, we can't. We can't run the ball well. We sure heck can't throw it without an O-line, right? Like, it's just, this year was proof of that. We have to give our quarterbacks time to do something. But at least we have good news. Macklin's back, though. Our boy is back.
Yes, 100%. And that's my take on the whole National Signing Day period. I agree with you 100%. 14 out of 16 teams in the SEC, not good. 26th overall, 28th overall, depending on 3, 247, Bleacher Report, whoever you kind of look at. It's kind of, the rankings are a little bit different. My take: who cares? Who cares? Because I don't give a damn about the freshmen coming in right now, because I don't know how many of those are actually going to get on the field next year. Skinner, maybe, like some of these, like the dynamic tight end, like he potentially is going to impact. But this isn't a 2-3 year down the road fix. I need the ship to be righted like next season. So go attack the portal, find some dogs who are hungry. And, I put the tweet out there. If us losing some of the talent from the 21-22 class means that we are now getting some folks who are hungry to succeed instead of the ones that seemingly seem like they had already made it, I'm good with that.
Cool.
I'm 100%. I don't care. I don't care what your star rating is. Be a 5-star, be a 4-star somewhere else. Give me a 3-star, 2-star kid who's going to fight his ass off and go win ball games. And my equivalent was IU, right? IU this year didn't get a bunch of 5-star portal kids or formal 5-star, 4-star recruits. They went out and got the dudes that Cignetti wanted that would fit his system. Some of them coming from JMU, right? So coming from a lower level school to play in a Power 5 conference. Now, yes, the argument's going to be IU schedule sucked. And, the one big game they had against Ohio State, they didn't perform. But you know what? They're in the college football playoff. They beat who they were supposed to, and we can't say the same thing. So I think IU is I think IU is the mold, you could say, of like, it's possible to flip the script in 1 year, right? Let's get the NIL situation figured out. I know no one wants to hear that be the problem. I don't want to either. I don't want to see a coach say the reason why we lose games is because we don't have money. Shut up. Stop. I don't want to do that behind the scenes. Maybe that is the issue. Do it behind the scenes. Don't get up on a podium and talk about your money problems. I don't want to hear it. Because, again, IU didn't even have an NIL football collective last year, and they were able to figure it out. That being said, I think we got a lot of dollar bills coming back our way with some of those guys who left, right? So you got some money to play with. You know, you got monopoly money out there. Let's go ahead and throw it around. So yeah, I don't care what the ranking was. I care about the people who are sticking around, right? I care about Harley Gilmore sticking around. I care about Jamori Macklin being wide receiver 1 and doing what he should have been doing last year because the offense is going to be focused around him, right? I will go to my grave. I'm sure I had zero play in keeping him, but I'll go to my grave saying that I did because I was loud about it. And there have only been like 4 or 5 people who saw it, but I don't care. I'm going to say that those were the 4 or 5 most important people because I was lobbying for like 2 or 3 days to make sure anybody who would listen about how good Jamori is, and we cannot let him go to another school. So yeah, let's see what we can pick up. I think a QB in the portal is big. There's some big names that are out there. Some more big names that are going to drop once the bowl season is over. You already talked about the O-line. We already have some visits planned out. A big body wide receiver, I think, is good. We got a lot of talent, but we need somebody
tall. I think we don't have any height in our wide receiver room right now.
Yeah, 6'2", 6'3", big body. Go get you one receiver would be nice. Now that being said, I don't think we need it. That you can utilize Willie Rodriguez for something like that, right? We have dynamic playmakers.
Please.
Yeah, It doesn't have to be a certain position. We have pass catchers, right? I think the wide receiver tight end dynamic is unique. You see it in the league right now, where you can have a Isaiah Likely type who is a tight end, but is also a pass catcher, can line up on the outside and do the things that you would want a receiver to do. Your Kyle Pitts type. So not really worried about that. Just get a big body who can go out there and make a play for you. Jump ball, big catch radius type. And then let's shore up some of the defense. We got some D linemen who left, so definitely need to fill some holes there. But yeah, the portal is what we need to attack hard and spend our money. And then we can use this class to kind of build from within. But the other reason why I'm not super worried about what this class was is because if we can't figure out this whole football thing now, and we can't figure out how to get a 7-5, 8-4 season back, potentially they're not here in 2 or 3 years anyways, if we're looking at a whole new regime that takes over Kentucky football, right? So I think it's important to continue to show that we can recruit well because we're in the SEC and having Vince here is big. But let's focus on the here and now. And I think the way to do that is to swing big in the portal and get guys who can, take us to the 10-2 Will Levis year the first time he was here, right. That should be the goal. It might be a lofty one. Yeah. It might not be attainable, but you might as well shoot for it because anything less is
at least be competitive, right? Yeah. Like at least be competitive.
Yeah. I
don't
can't
get
handle
embarrassed, and I think that changes a lot of things.
Yeah, seeing one win in Kroger. Once we get into tournament or once we got into conference play, and that being like Murray State, those games, like, sorry, that's just not. That ain't
That's
it.
Not good enough.
No. Yes, Vandy had a big year. Great. Can't lose to them. Florida was predicted to be one of the worst teams. Can't lose to them. Like those sort of things seemed like there was a big regression in Kentucky football this year. And let's get back to living up to the expectations that Stoops built. Right? He's a product of the thing that he did
true.
here. I appreciate him, but now you can't just let's not get complacent now and say, hey, we did something. Show me that you're as pissed off as you talk in your press conferences, right?
Right.
And let's make a massive change next year. So that's what I'm thinking. But and up until we get good news and we get someone in the portal who commits to Kentucky or something like that, let's make a pact right now. We're not talking about football anymore. Deal?
Nope.
Shake on it. Boom. Virtual handshake. Bam.
Shake
gotcha.
on it. Yep.
We're just not until next season. It's just not worth the heartache anymore. It's over. Let's act like what's just
not worth their energy.
like it happened. And we'll just continue to focus on this awesome basketball team that has produced awesome moments already. Only 9 games into the season, so let's just keep riding that wave, like I said before, because would it be something that we can look back at December 8th and we were talking about a big win against Gonzaga, and come March we're sitting there like, holy hell, like he actually got number 9 done in his first year. Like, would be absolutely legendary, would be just how the script was supposed to be written, would be absolutely wild. And I hope it happens.
Look, if that does happen, if that script that has already been written or whatever, if that is how it plays out, don't even try to come for UK fans for at least like 5 years. We are going to be absolutely inseparable. Like, it's going to be awful, but we're going to love it. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be fine. But no, this season so far has been some of the best moments we've had in the past couple of years. 1,000%. Last night I was like, I swear to God, I can't breathe. Like, my heart, it was racing. Like, I was like, please win, please win.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's been really cool too. As we close this thing out, it's been cool that this is the year that Pope's come in and we've had this great moment. We are doing this thing still very new with the Bleed Blue Network stuff and having our podcast and talking to it, having the watch alongs and doing it. It's made it so much fun. And to see this team do it is we built relationships. Ansley's been on our show. Still talk to him, and I know you talked to his girlfriend, because we had everybody thought that was wild, stupid to have, that her on a space, and that relationship is still intact and they're doing great. She loves Big
awesome.
Blue Nation. So it's like does. All these things that we're doing that are outside the norm and have made it really fun is similar to what the coaching staff is doing. It's like we got a hodgepodge of dudes who are coming together, still trying to figure it out, but playing their asses off for Kentucky. And just like I said before, it's not the coaching staff giving us lip service. These players aren't giving it either. Like, they're truly battling for the university and for this team they're playing for. Because like Ansley said, I wasn't supposed to be here, right? Like, I was not supposed to be playing for Kentucky. But the fact that he's like, I'm going to make sure I give it everything I got, and I'm not going to sacrifice this opportunity. I'm not going to, let this opportunity pass me by. So they are really, really good for us in this new era of Kentucky basketball. And I appreciate them and what they're doing because it has made it so much fun for us. And I do think we're going to have even more exciting moments like this Saturday as we plan to smack around baby brother Louisville. And when I come back to Lexington for the Arkansas game, and we make sure we send Cal running with his tail between his legs, and we can watch Arkansas Twitter just melt down. So it's been a hell of a time talking to you on this another episode of All UK Ball. Shout out to you. Awesome interview that's getting ready to come out with Cassidy Rowe. So
drop at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Okay, yeah. So someone who is also on a great new team that women's college basketball or women's basketball for Kentucky is doing great things. So we don't talk about them as much as we should. So I apologize. So I'm really glad that you got to interview her, and I'm sure you asked questions about Kenny Brooks and kind of the new pieces of the team and how it's different. Yeah, how it's different. So definitely download this podcast, listen to it first, and then go listen to the interview with Cassidy and Selena. But I'm going to get back to daddy duty. Selena, got Colgate on Wednesday. We'll definitely be chatting before, and hopefully next Sunday when we do this, we'll talk about 2 wins for Kentucky basketball, getting into December and into January SEC play.
Yeah, I good talking to you, obviously. The interview with Cassidy went really well. So that's dropping 8 a.m. tomorrow. And also, if you guys did not see my tweet earlier, I am putting together a women's podcast for Kentucky basketball and Kentucky sports in general.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I have some good responses so far. I will be putting a group chat together tonight. So if you want to be a part of that, go ahead and send me a message and I'll get you added. It looks to be like a really good time.
Hell yeah. There needs to be more of that too, because volleyball, all these women's sports that are killing it, soccer, like they're all doing great and they don't get the recognition that they deserve, because they're not football, because they're not basketball, but they're still kicking ass. And all that collectively goes into trying to be like that NCAA school of the year, right? And they're really holding it down for us and keeping us ranked in our ability to be one of those top universities throughout the country. So awesome that you're doing that and getting that recognition. And me having a new baby girl now, excited to see these women's sports really kind of blow up. And, it's no longer like, hey, she just has to be a cheerleader or a dancer. Like I can say, hey, girl, let's get a football in you. Let's start bouncing a basketball real early and we'll see what happens, see if I can groom the next Caitlin Clark or Cassidy, bro, But
yes, of course.
Absolutely. All right. Big Blue Nation, great talking to you. Selena, great talking to you. As always, go Cats, bleed blue.
Go Cats.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Bleed Blue Network podcast. We hope you enjoyed diving deep into the world of Kentucky sports with us. Don't forget to stay connected by following us on Twitter at BleedBNation. Your feedback means the world to us. So take a moment to leave a review. Not only does it help us improve, but it also helps others discover the show. Until next time, keep cheering, keep listening, and keep bleeding blue.